He's a father, a brother and icon to those that know him. A man that has the gift of advice to those that respect what he says. A man that will not sugarcoat anything. You can agree or disagree, but he is just someone who gives out great advice. Let's Talk About It is the name of the show. Here is your host, the icon.
Keep my hand in the fire. Won't learn my lesson till I let it burn, but never lose my desire. Had it from the moment that I felt my first love. I knew I'd never get enough of you. I'll take the risk like I'm bulletproof. Shots in my heart, but it bleeds the truth. A part of every little thing I do, like a tattoo. Just like a tattoo, I'll always have you. Like a tattoo, just like a tattoo, I'll always have you. My inhibitions fade away. Can't think with my head, my gut won't let me change. Try to deny, but you beg me to taste. If I end as a loser, it'd be worth the game. Cause I can never get enough of you. I'll take the risk like I'm bulletproof. Always on my heart like a tattoo.
Yes, I like that.
A part of every little thing I do, like a tattoo. Swear every time is the last time I let you get up under my skin.
We're gonna get started here in a minute, y'all. Let y'all groove with this.
Wanna let the ink dry, but wanna try till it's right. Here we go again. If I am love and love is I need you more than I would admit. Please be kind to me, baby. Like a weapon, you slay me forever. Connected like a tattoo. Just like a tattoo. I'll always have you. Love's a tattoo.
All right. What was that?
Just like a tattoo. I'll always have you.
All right, y'all. How's everybody doing out there? Y'all doing all right? Ooh, I ain't been back on here in a minute, but I've been trying to float around with some different platforms, but I'm back. I want to welcome y'all to the show. I am Icon. The show is called Let's Talk About It. Hopefully everybody's doing good out there today. I'm doing fantastic. Oh, just been a long week, long work week, and, just trying to get my shit together. But it's all good. So I know that I haven't been posting shows on Buzzcast, but shows are still up on the site. Like I said, I've been experimenting with some different platforms, but nobody treats me better than Buzzcast, so hey, I'm back. In any event, we got a show today. Just a young lady complaining about the work life, Seems like, as an average person as myself, seems like the more money you make, like the more Well, hold on. How can I say this? The more money you make, it seems like the cost of living is just definitely going up everywhere. So it's nothing that can be controlled, but since we have this idiot of an asshole president in the White House, I guess things are going to get any better, because I remember back in my day, things were a lot better. But as this world evolves and the need and demand for, things that we just can't live without, like technology and everything else. So, but my listener today wrote a letter. She goes by the name Angie. And not sure what I can touch on, but I'll just try to do my best with this one. So she's just experiencing, we all experience that part of corporate greed, and I really don't work for a lot of big name companies. The job that I work now is like it's owned by a family, and that's the kind of work that I like to do, because I think they pay more attention to you than a corporation will, because at a corporation, depending on what company that you work with, you're just a number. And sorry to say that, and I haven't really worked in a lot of places where you're not considered a number, that you can actually be considered family. But this place that I work at now, it's a small outfit. They treat their employees right, and they treat their people right. So without further ado, we are going to get into this letter. This one is entitled "So Much Greed," and it's coming from a listener by the name of Angie. Without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? Hello, Icon. My name for this letter, I will call myself Angie. Though I feel that you may or may not know me, but I hope that this letter or your show will reach someone in the corporate offices. You see, I work for a company that is not only a multi-billion-dollar company, but I feel that it's just centered around corporate greed. And I feel that I could talk about it, and maybe, just maybe, this will reach the powers that be. And hopefully they will take into consideration what employees do for this company as well as others. But I work for Dollar Tree, though at times I feel that it's a good company to work for, but the pay is just horrible. I don't understand why locations in Kansas are still open, because we are paid the minimum wage in Kansas, which is $7.25 an hour. Yes, make that make sense. This company can't afford to pay us better, but instead they choose to pay us this type of wage. I don't understand how and why they're allowed to operate like this. But as long as they do, this company will continue to have issues with employing people. Icon, did you know that they only give us 10-minute breaks? Seriously, I never worked for a company that gave you a 10-minute break. At best, most of the companies I work for give you 15 minutes. By the time you punch out and take a seat, then a minute later you're punching right back in. So I do like this company, but I feel that just like what happened to Lamar's can happen here as well as Hardee's. But I'm not suggesting anything like that. I'm not even organizing anything like that. But I have heard I've heard from some that have been with this company talking about how this company doesn't appreciate their employees. So while I'm not business savvy, but I can tell you that this company has a board. Then why should the board get the full benefits of the company when hard people like me make this company turn every single day? Why is it that the work we do is asked but still get talked down like we're less than? Why is that when a DM comes to our store, nothing ever positive? It's always negative. Why is that when we give our all to a company, I feel so underappreciative? Icon, I didn't graduate from high school, but that was my decision. Though my life isn't the best, I don't blame anyone for the way my life has turned out. Because I'm still working on me. I'm 25 years old with no kids. I'm not married, but I do have a boyfriend. And though DT is my side hustle, I also work for a competitor at the retail. Well, it's a warehouse job. Because let's be really clear, DT has issues. And though I also work for DG, DT is Dollar Tree, DG is Dollar General. I think by far they're both the worst, but I don't understand how in the hell or why in the hell we are paid so low, but the CEO or the board gets bonuses and most of them get a 6-figure salary. What I also understand is that most of them don't even shop in a place like this because why? I guess they don't want to mingle with common folk like me. Sometimes I wish that they would resurrect that show Undercover Boss. I'm not sure if it would do any good because there are a lot of companies that really cater to their employees and want to make sure their company is holding true to its core values. I often wonder what would happen if one day employees have to show up because of this company's pay scale and what impact it would have on them. Before you ask, I have contacted the CO corporate office and voiced my concerns about fair pay, and not only does it fall on deaf ears. Icon, I have called over 3 times and even shared what's my concern with my DM. But again, it seems like we won't be taken seriously. I'm not suggesting we do anything drastic, but what other way is there for us to be taken seriously? I'm not new to this company. I've been here for about a year. And though I really enjoy the work here is because of the customers I get to interact with. And for me, it's just that the best part of being in this job. I definitely enjoy the people because, I don't know, I just enjoy the social interaction with helping customers. Especially our regulars. Though most of them share my concerns, they say they're just talking. They say that just talking to them first and then you have to take a drastic approach, whatever that is. But I get the feeling I understand what they're trying to say. Icon, do you think they'll listen? Do you think they'll listen if I continue to advocate for better pay? Not just with this location, but I understand that the minimum wage is statewide. But I also understand that some locations don't do the amount of money we do. Again, Icon, I maybe know half of what goes in the cost of a business run. But I still feel like it's enough money for locations like this one to be paid a fair wage. Answer me this. Why is it when prices increase, our wages don't? Because to me, that definitely sounds like corporate greed. You know, I'm not going to say that it's the dumbass in the White House, but but I don't think that it's all because he's just an idiot. But I know that they are trying to stay competitive with the other big box retail, and so far I understand that as well. The purpose of this email is to raise awareness and that companies should pay more attention to their employees and that they should pay us better because we're the ones that really go through the fire, literally so. I'm not suggesting that DT is bad because there are some that are far worse. I just want to make sure that this doesn't fall on deaf ears. I don't know if this is a good or a bad thing, but I'm just looking for a solution. Signed, Underpaid, Kansas. So this letter is just basically saying that Dollar Tree is a multi-billion-dollar company. Multi-billion-dollar companies, not only Dollar Tree do this, but, well, I don't know, because this is the only company that I know that are paying these customers these kind of wages. So in Kansas, and along with 19 or 18 other states, the minimum wage is literally $7.25 an hour. How can anybody make any money living off that kind of wage? And I know it's a side hustle, but hell, even the side hustle, you have to find another side hustle just to make ends meet. So not only do you have your main job, but you have to have like 2 side hustles to kind of balance things out. And I remember back in the day, it was never like this. It was never like this. We would work one job and that one job would set us up. But as I said, as time goes on, as the world changes, you know, and corporate greed just kind of takes over. Because as we can see is that, you know, the idiot in the White House is basically enriching his friends. It's like the poor stay poor and the rich get richer. I don't consider myself as being poor. I'm somewhere in the middle, but kind of leaning towards the poor side because let's just face it, it's hard. It's hard. You know, it's hard raising a family on my wage, and I'm the single person income here because I don't, like I said, I lost my wife, and it's just me. But I get it. I get what I get what Angie is trying to say. I think that it's just bad. So I think that I appreciate the letter, and who knows, maybe there's somebody at corporate that would listen to this, but I'm not going to hold my breath because I've seen things like this time and time again, these multi-billion-dollar companies, and I'm with Miss Angie on this. Why does a company have a board that gets so much bonuses when they don't really do the heavy lifting? Yeah, and I know what everybody's going to say. Well, they got to go out and do this. They got to go out and do that. They got to go out and, they're scouting for new properties. But let's be really clear. We are the ones that make the company go around. We are the ones that is out here doing the hard job that they're not going to do. And I know that people call them pencil pushers because that's pretty much what they do in the corporate world. And I'm not saying all companies are like this. I'm really not. You have some companies that are really hands-on. I think the show Undercover Boss was a good show, was a good premise. But I think that in the end, I think maybe half of them did what they said they were going to do, and the other half kind of just did it for the publicity of the show, to drive business to the show. To say, oh, we're doing this, come invest in us, come and make our product. Come and buy our product because we know how to treat our employees right. Well, do you though? Do you? Back in my day, we worked a second job just to work a second job. It wasn't no side hustle money or nothing like that. We just did it because we can do it. Times have changed so drastically now that it seems like the less money you make, the more problems you get. And let's be real clear about that, because the money that you're getting now is basically just not even enough to do anything with. I'm not even sure who could survive on $7.25 an hour. And it's a shame that some states, and I get the states have to set the minimum, wage for the people to be paid. But if you're a multi-billion-dollar company like Dollar Tree, who makes, I think their revenue was like, oh, I had their revenue here. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. And it's just bad, Okay, so Dollar Tree, it's a Fortune 500 company that operates 15,115 stores throughout 48 contiguous U.S. and United States and Canada. Now, this company, which is valued at, according to, well, shoot, I don't think these stats are good. We're going to go with these stats anyways. $25.5 billion. Make that make sense. So operating income is at 1.87 billion. Net income is at 1.3 billion. Total assets is at 20.6 billion. So I don't understand, even with it being in the billions and not the millions, it seems like there's a lot of room for a company to pay their employees a fair, decent wage. I'm not saying they need to break the bank and we need to make 4 figures a week. Though that would be nice, but let's be honest, this company is raising prices. So it's not really a Dollar Tree store anymore because prices are going up and they're trying to stay competitive with, places like Walmart and Target, which I'm not even sure why, because they're not even in the same lane or the same league as Target or Walmart. Because Dollar Tree was a store that you could go into, would start off as $1, and we knew that there were going to be some price increases. So it started off as $1, and then it went up to $1.25. Well, $1.25 is still manageable. Now, considering the fact that you can get everything there from food to housewares to cleaning supplies to storage containers, and they were the premier go-to store for when you need to get, like you were in a jam. I mean, let's be honest. Now there's an increase of more people shopping at stores like this because not only is it cheaper, but you can get your money's worth out of it. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but I don't really think they took a huge hit when it came to the price increase. I think business kind of slowed down some, but let's be real clear. They're still doing good because most locations that I know have their food, and you can go in there and get like rice and tuna and stuff. And that's the thing. Everything was the same set price. It was at $1.25. So give me a second. I got to get my drink. So you got to wonder, companies like this, what is the end game? Now, she said she touched on Lamar's. There was a donut store, a donut shop called Lamar's Donuts, and everybody was, I think, had enough of this company because Lamar's decided they wanted to pay their people like minimum wage too. Well, one weekend, and this was back in, I think, 2021, employees had enough. They said, the hell with this, we're not doing this anymore. So corporate had to come down from, I think it was Denver, Colorado. They came down and they got the store up and running. They got it up and running by Sunday. Now, to me, it's a hard lesson to learn, but I think that's what should happen. I think that's what should have happened because I think sometimes corporate is out of touch with their people. I think corporate, when you're sitting behind a desk and you're not really in tune with the people that make your company go round. I mean, anybody can sit back and point fingers and bark orders and tell somebody do this or do that. But unless you're physically on the ground, meeting people, talking to people, trying to make sure your crew is okay, what good are you? What good is a company? And I get it. They can't, not a CEO can't do that. I get that. I understand that. I get that. But, and that's, I think, what the problem is when these companies get too damn big, there's too many chiefs and not enough Indians. So when companies get bigger and bigger, so of course the CEO can't go around and meet everybody at the store. I get it, because if he did something like that, he would probably never get anything done. I get it. I understand it. But I think that there has to be some kind of incentive. When you give an employee an incentive, a motive, or a good reason to come to work, then they're a happy worker. But if you give them a wage that they can't survive off of, or they can't feed their family off of, then how are you going to let your company, how are you going to let this location thrive? How are you going to keep telling people that, oh, well, we're here to make our company better, but we want to make sure our employees are treated fairly? Well, your employees are not treated fairly because they don't make a good wage. They make $7.25 an hour. $7.25 an hour. Who in the hell could live off of that? I don't even think my cat could live off that. Jeez, and the cat don't even pay rent. But I'm not discrediting Dollar Tree, because I think Dollar Tree and companies like Dollar Tree, there's a lot of room to improve. And I think what this lady is trying to say is that even if they took off for one day, and I'm not saying that they're going to strike or anything like that, but if they took off for one day, that would really hurt the company. Now, depending on what locations do it, but that would hurt nationwide. Because why? I mean, you can't, let's say hypothetically that they have 15,000 stores. Let's say half of that, and half of them took off. Do you think they can actually fill those stores? Fill those stores with employees and within one day? No, they can't. They can't. So I think what Angie's trying to say is that she prays and hopes that somebody's listening to this podcast, because not only should there be an increase of pay, but you are a company that's worth billions, not millions, billions and billions of dollars. Now, we won't see a dime of that money. Why? Because we're only going to see like maybe 200 or 300 of that. and that's not really much. But I think when you incentivize an employee to come to work and you give them a good reason to come to work, then they come to work happy. You know, my main job is hands down one of the best jobs I worked for in a long time. And I've had some shitty ones. But I would say that this is by far the best job I've worked for, because not only does this company I work for take care of their employees, but they look out for us. You know, when we have snow days, when we have downtime, you know, there's compensation for that. And that's a good thing. That's where it should be with companies. But then again, I'm in transportation, so I'm not, you know, in the retail aspect of it. So I get that. But they treat their employees really, really good. And that's all I can ask for. Now, as far as the side hustle, I've had some shitty side hustles. I really have. You know, I worked at Dollar General. You know, Dollar General, which I thought was, and it's funny because when you go to these jobs, you think these companies are like really invested in their employees. But it comes to find out that some of them are, and some of them really just don't give a damn. They only care about you filling that position and then you going in there and trying to make their company better. But when you make their company better, should there be some kind of reward for that? I think there should, but is it always going to be noticed? It's not. It's going to go unnoticed 9/10 of the time. And it only goes noticed if, you know, it's get put on TikTok or Facebook or Instagram or whatever, you know, and that's sad. That's sad. Why should it take somebody like that to get noticed when you have stars in your company already? I'm not saying it needs to be an everyday thing, but if you have good employees at your store that work at your store, you should take the time to invest in them. Take the time to understand, to say, well, hey, what can we do that's different that you want to see us do to improve employee morale here? And I get it. You know, they can't always go to these locations, but I think where they should start is that they should hold these meetings. And I think that that as employees, we should be able to voice our concerns, and the company should be taking a look at it. Because if it's falling on deaf ears, it's like the open door policy. Now, sometimes the open door policy is good. Sometimes it just ain't really worth a damn. Because I was with a company that had an open door policy, and they went right back and told the damn employee about themselves. And I was like, I thought you had an open door policy, because I thought open door meant, you know, you come and you talk to us, and then we keep it here, and then we do our investigation, or we try to figure out how to make things better. Not you go tell this person, you go tell that person, then it gets back to them saying, well, this person said this about you. That's not open door policy. That's just you being petty as hell. And I worked for a company like that. That was freaking ridiculous. Ridiculous. But, hold on. But I think, and let's just put it to you like this. I think the people that start these companies, they start these companies with the intention of, you know, we're going to do right by people. We're going to make this company one of the best companies in the world. And I'm not saying it's not the best company in the world. I'm saying that where the ball got dropped is that either, because you got to figure when the people that start these companies, they have the mindset of they want to make the world a better place. They want to make sure their employees are taken care of. Well, when the owner or somebody dies, then that sort of gets lost in translation, because over time it gets distorted. It gets distorted over time and over years, and then they kind of lose sight of the bigger picture. They say, well, we're still at our core values. No, you're not. You're not. How are you at your core values when you're not doing what the original owner intended to for this company? Now, I was reading about the co-owner, Macon Brock. I think that's his name. But he started this company. The first Dollar Tree branded store opened in Jasmine Mall in Sumter, South Carolina in May of 1989. And this guy had a vision a vision that he wanted to make, change. He wanted to do something good in the world before he left the world. And I think he did that. But I think somewhere down the lines, his vision kind of like not really dwindled or phased out. But, when you have CEOs come in and they kind of change things up and doing this, that, and the other, well, they still want to hold true to his core values. And anybody can talk about anybody's core values. It's the fact that you're not living up to the core values. It's the fact that you're saying, well, yes, we are. And like I said, there's no shade. There's no disrespect to nobody like that, because as we see over time, that when you work for companies like this, and it started off good, back in the day, it was a good company. But as time grows and grows and grows, it kind of gets lost in translation. It starts fading away. Though we say that the owner had this intention, but that's fine. But you're not living up to those intentions, because if you were, surely if this owner was alive today, I think things would be a little bit more different. Now, here's the thing. Walmart and Target seemed to jump the gun. They didn't really jump the gun, but they kind of figured when they seen all this stuff happening with other companies and people walking out and this, that, and the other, well, they kind of got a handle on it. They got a handle on it, and they wanted to make sure that their employees are taken care of. Now, I do give Walmart credit where credit is due. I think Walmart is a good company, still kind of big for me. I think they're a good company, but I think they're just too big for the brand. And what I mean by that is that they're a conglomerate. They're a big brand. Well, I can't really say anything that bad about Walmart, because even though I worked for them and I got fired by them, I think they're still a pretty good company. Now, and I know, and what I didn't touch on is that what Angie was saying is that stores in different areas of the world, your revenue is going to be different. So while I think that the pay should be, I can't really say based off the revenue of the store, because then you probably wouldn't get the kind of pay. But I think that there's wiggle room to do so, because as I understand it, is that the highest minimum wage is in Washington. It's at $17.13 an hour. New York is at 17. Jesus. The lowest state that has the lowest minimum wage is Wyoming. They pay $5.15 an hour. Jesus, how does it? But I'm not saying that these companies actually pay that wage. I think that that's what the state set the minimum wage at. But just because they set it at the minimum wage doesn't necessarily mean you have to pay people like that. If you're a multi-billion-dollar company, why should you not pay these people what they're worth? Why shouldn't you? It makes no sense to me. It really doesn't. It's bad that you're a multi-billion-dollar company and you have to pay these ridiculous wages. And what are you paying them for? And you can't say you're trying to save money. What are you saving money on for? Because here's the thing. These companies that say they save money, but you save money, but you throw so much merchandise away on a daily basis. Dollar General was notorious for this. They would, like their seasonal stuff, they wouldn't sell it. They would discount some of it. But if they had an overstock of it or an influx of it, they would just trash it. Not donate it, not give it away to anybody or let the employees buy it. They would just trash it. That is ridiculous. But you're talking about you're trying to save money. You want to save money, but you go and do some shit like that. I don't understand that. I don't get it. That makes no sense to me. Why in God's name would you? And I mean, they were throwing away good shit. They were throwing away like blankets, seasonal blankets, like candy, toys, and stuff like that. And I'm like, and then here's the thing. You couldn't go get a dumpster diver later because the what they had was a compactor. So you couldn't even get into the compactor. So it didn't matter if you try to go and get it, it's already gone. And then the manager would be the one that has to lock it up, and you couldn't really get nothing out of it. So miss me with that, because companies always say, well, we're trying to save money, we're trying to do this and that. Now, I do understand that Walmart, Target, and probably some of the other stores that I've worked for, or not worked for, but would deliver merchandise to, they would donate, like, if the food was going to expire within about a week, then they would donate it. That's cool. That's good. That's good. But you can't tell me that you're trying to save money when you're throwing away good merchandise and you're not letting your employees either have first dibs on it, or you're not really doing anything with it. You're just throwing the shit in the trash. And I know it's probably a big tax write-off, but I don't understand that neither. Here's the thing. If places like Dollar Tree and Dollar General and probably some of these other small places would just take the time to understand their employees, and I'm not saying that they all don't do that, but there are some that do and there's some that don't. So I think if you take the time to understand your employees and try to get to understand them and try to make their jobs a little bit more better, I think it would go a lot further. Because let's be honest with you, Dollar General, Dollar Tree, and probably some of these other small places, it's like a revolving door. When you bring people in the door and you tell them what the job is, yeah, they're excited to work. Oh yeah, we're going to do this, that, and other. But then when they get the job, they're like, well, wait a minute, this ain't nothing like the shit you just said. And then they're gone. They're gone. So I'm trying to think, because I had an example for you, but I lost it. In any event, I think that when these people come in the door and they're amped and they're so excited to work for this company or your company, they're excited to be there to do the job. But they can't effectively do the job now, can they, if they don't get the right amount of pay? And most places now don't even make you wait the whole 90 days. If you come in the door, well, within 30 days, there's an evaluation. There's one raise. Then you get another 30 days, there's another evaluation. So at the end of that 90 days, then if you're progressing and doing the work that is asked of you, then you're progressing. Then you're getting the money that you deserve. So while I understand, but then again, at the same time, I kind of don't understand why companies perform this way. I think it's all about American corporate greed. I think that's exactly what it is. And again, I'm not saying all companies do this, because there's a lot of companies out there that really take care of their employees. There's a lot of companies out there that just say, well, we want to make sure our employees are happy. When they're happy, we're happy. And they're just not worried about the customer. They want their employees to feel like they have a place they can work at and that they can just be proud of where they work. Because let's be honest, my main job, I love it. Oh my God, I love it. I freaking love this job. I was trying to figure out how come I hadn't been here long. How come I didn't know about this job? But I love it. I mean, I wake up every morning. I'm so happy to go to work, and I love what I do. I really do. And that's a good feeling that you should have when you're going to work. Not going to work, oh, I'm not going to get this or the money. And like I said, it's a revolving door. What companies don't understand, it costs more to hire people than to pay people. Why not pay the people that you already have working for you and keep them happy? And the relationship can be like a marriage. It can last forever. Well, some people's marriages. But I don't think in this letter that Andy's trying to say that something's going to happen. I think ultimately in the end, something quick is going to happen, because we see that, I don't know if any of you guys know about Hardee's. Hardee's went belly up. They were here today and gone tomorrow. There's a location in Blue Springs, Missouri that customers walked in there and there was nobody there. There was nobody there. Why is that? Because when these companies pay these ridiculous wages, you gotta understand, I've yet to see any corporate person, and I get it. Some people in the corporate world can say they started at a Dollar Tree. Some can say that. But how do we know that? You can just be telling me that, and that's just something that we want to hear, or you could be taking somebody else's backstory and making it your own. I'm not saying that didn't happen, but the last time I worked for Walmart, and the store manager that I worked for, which was cool at the time, but he was an asshole when he started off. But he had pictures to back his claim up. He said, I started at Walmart, and I mean, he had the whole Polaroid. I mean, back then we didn't have digital phones. He had the whole Polaroids. It showed him in the truck. I was like, okay, yeah, so we can get behind this guy. Yeah, we can really do this. We can make this shit work. But he had the proof and evidence to back it up. When you do that, and you understand that this person has sacrificed something for your company, then you want to try to be like that person, because you want to be invested in the company as much as the company's invested in you. And that's all I wanted. But companies today, and I know some people are like, well, why don't they go union? Union doesn't always work in small companies like this. It really doesn't. Unions are good for auto workers, pipe fitting, or, construction jobs. That's a guaranteed contract right there. That's guaranteed money. But a union in a place like this doesn't make any sense, because not only you got to pay somebody to talk to you, but you got to pay union dues. I'm not with that. I was never a union guy. I'm not shading anybody for a union, because union works in some of these big companies, like in the automotive industry, the pipe fitting, the whatever. I don't really know that much about unions, but I think that in order for your company to succeed, you should first pay attention to your employees. If you pay attention to your employees and understand that the needs and the wants they have, and that they need to live better, they're probably not going to ever live like you, but they can get somewhere close to where you're at, and maybe put some incentives on it. Now, I'm not saying offer a discount or this, that, and the other. Offer something that's going to be good to beneficial of your employees. Make your employees feel wanted. I mean, we do everything for the customer. Why not do everything for your employees? I mean, let's be honest. When I was working for a company, I used to run transportation for a school bus company. And when we would go bid, and when they would go bid on these routes, well, they would say, well, this is what they're going to make. And I was like, I don't think that's going to be a good fit. Because why? Where they had to travel was like hella far to get to the first stop. And then they didn't get back. So they were guaranteed 2 hours a day, 2.5 hours a day, which equivalent is equal to 5 hours a day. But the pay didn't match what the route they were doing. This was a new contract, and we were trying to get the business of this school, in that I wanted the people to be paid fairly. I advocated for that. I did. I mean, I don't want no pat on the back, but I just want to make sure that everybody's getting paid fairly. So I advocated for that, and I said, well, hey, this is what they're going to pay you guys. Do you want this route? Do you guys want to take this route? Yeah, we'll do the route. And I'm not saying it's going to always work like that, because it always doesn't work like that. And that's the bad thing about it. We try to do what we can for the people that we work for or that we work with. I think that if you have something that's working, if you have good employees, why not try to do any and everything to keep those good employees? Why lose somebody good to a competitor? Because then when you go see that person, like, oh, well, you work here now? Yeah, well, I work here because, they have incentives. They take care of me. They listen to what we as employees need from the company. And that's all anybody's ever asking for. But to keep hiring people, like, let's say every week or every day, that gets tiresome. That puts a strain on the store manager. That puts a strain. I would say it put a strain on the company, but then again, the company doesn't really know. And again, I know the CEO cannot be everywhere at once. I know there are good DMs, there are bad DMs, there are good regionals, there are bad regionals. We just kind of got to get in where we fit in. That's all we got to do. So I think, Miss Angie, I think that if you don't think that your needs are being met through this company, I would try to voice these concerns and put these concerns out on paper again. And if there's a lot of employees that feel the same way, maybe you guys try to have a meeting with the DM or the regional or whoever it is you guys need to have a meeting with, and say, hey, listen, we like working for the company, but if things don't change here, it's not going to be pretty for you guys. And that's not a threat. That's just saying that we want change. You're not threatening with your job. You're not even threatening. You're just trying to talk to them and sit down and have a conversation. If they want to listen, they want to listen. If they don't, if it falls on deaf ears, well, I think you guys know what you guys got to do. And I'm not saying walk out or stage a walkout or nothing like that. But I think in this day and age, people are getting fed up with a lot of these corporations, because corporate greed is getting the best of everybody. And the only people that's reaping the benefits are the higher ups. It's not people like you, people like me. It's the higher ups. Now, do we all want to be millionaires? Yeah, we do. Can we all be millionaires? No, we can't. Now, this is the life that I chose. I'm happy with my life. Do I wish I was making more money? I do. Do I want to make more money? I do. But this is the hand that I've been dealt. I don't stress about things that I can't control. And even if I could control it, I'm still not going to stress about it. Because putting that kind of stress on you just makes you get sicker, get weaker, and you have the mindset of every day that, oh my God, what am I going to do now? Listen, I'm like most of the people that I talk to or that I hear from. I'm an average person who has bills. Do I pay my bills on time? I try to. Do I always make them on time? Not really. Why? Because I have things that come up. Now, I'm not on this podcast asking for money, or I don't even ask somebody to contribute to my cause. I do this because I like doing it. And though I see a lot of podcasts that are monetized, I don't really want to be monetized. I like doing what I do. I like being average. I like talking to normal people like like myself and yourself. But I'm not a guy that has everything together. I still struggle a lot. I have kids. I have a daughter that's getting ready to graduate. I have twins that's getting ready to graduate next year. And I'm trying to get them set up. I mean, thank God they don't have kids. Praise Jesus they don't have kids. But my kids understand how hard life is. But I don't want them to experience that, but I know they're going to experience that. But in order for them to experience it, I need to prepare them for that. To say, hey, it's not going to always go the way you think it's going to go. It's going to be tough. But remember, tough times don't last forever. Tough people do. So, I think the life that I chose is a good life. Now, back in my day, I told you the story before. I invented surround sound, but nobody's ever going to know that because at that time, we didn't think the world was going to turn out the way it's going to turn out. So it was just an up and smoke dream. I had tinkered around with some stereo equipment and made the sound come through the stereo from the TV to the stereo, and it was like epic. And my teacher, I remember my teacher, Mr. Leach, he's like, man, you really got something here. You should pursue that. And I was thinking, like, yeah, right, whatever. You know, because I didn't think the world was going to turn into this technology guru that we're in. You know, I never knew what surround sound was, but looking back on it now, I kind of wished I kind of followed up. But it's all good. It's all good. I had a lot of good ideas. Am I mad that those ideas are getting realized? No, I'm not. I don't need to be bitter over something like that. You know, I wish the people well that discovered this technology and did this technology, but I just didn't follow through. You know, I've had so many good ideas and I wanted to do so many great things, and I can still do those great things. And I'm going to try one way or another to do them, but hey, it's what it is. You know, I'm not going to be mad at the life that I have. And Miss Angie, I don't think you should be mad at the life that you have. But as I said before, if you feel that you're not going to get anywhere with, you know, the corporate office of Dollar Tree, then you know what you have to do. I'm not suggesting you strike. I'm not suggesting you do anything out the ordinary that's going to hurt you or the company. But that's just my opinion. Now, should you choose to listen to that? It's completely up to you. But you sound like a smart young lady, smart like a smart woman. You work for, well, a retail warehouse, so which really is a competitor. You're working in a warehouse, so it's not like you're servicing customers. You're servicing a retail brand, but not customers. So I think that I hope this podcast finds you well, and I hope that I've answered majority of your questions. But I know it's going to be hard, and I'm not saying that just because the state minimum wage is what it is, they should be paying you that. I think they should be paying you guys a fair wage. I know, and the crazy thing is, it's just ridiculous. But they go off of that because they feel that, well, you know, and let's be honest with you. As I said before, Dollar Tree is a multi-billion-dollar company. It's a multi-billion-dollar company. It's a good company, but if they don't like get in touch with their employees of their stores, well, you're gonna always have problems. And if you continue to have these problems, then we've seen places close because they don't want to keep their employees happy. And nobody wants that. I don't even want that. I'm just saying, from my standpoint, from my opinion. But I just hope that this can go a lot better because, like I said, when you work for a company, you want to represent that company well. You want to make sure that company's doing well because when you go to work, you want to be proud of who you work for. You want to be happy in doing your work. Am I right or am I wrong? Because when I wake up every day and I put my pants on and I get ready to head up to my work, I get in my truck and I'm sitting like, wow, man, this is amazing. Love this job. I love this company I work for. People are so nice. And that's a good feeling to have. How many of us want that feeling? How many of us want to have that feeling that, you know, you go to work and you feel appreciated, you feel valued, you feel like you bring something to the table to this company? I feel like that every single damn day that I go to my job. I do. I just feel good about that. And though I've had some shitty jobs, I still would go in and make the best of a worse situation. I don't give a damn if you're going to try to come down me for anything or something that I didn't do that you want to just come down to me because you think you can. I'm still going to have a good day. And I'm going to shine having a good day. Because when I'm shining, I'm having a good day, can't nothing stop me, can't nobody hold me back, and can't nobody damn sure hold me down. Nothing like that. So, Miss Angie, my listeners, as we get ready to wrap this show up, I want to say thank you guys. Thank you guys for being loyal to my brand. Thank you for listening to the show. I know this episode is a lot different from the ones we used to do, that we normally do, but they're still coming. I mean, I feel like I can talk about anything because I haven't seen everything I've seen, but I've been through most of this stuff. And though my life is not a hard life, it's a good life. And I enjoy my life because I wake up every day thanking God that I'm allowed to see another good day. You know, I wake up to see my kids and my family, and I wake up and go to work. And that's all I can be thankful for. So I just want to say to my listeners, thank you guys for listening to the show. Thank you for sending me these letters. Most of them are good. There are some bad ones in there, which we'll get to those later. You know, it's not really a priority, but you know, you're not going to always please everybody, as I keep telling you guys. When you wake up, you should wake up for you. Wake up with the mindset of this is going to be a good day for me, and I'm going to make the best of this day. Be glad, be joyful, be happy. So, I want to say thank you again for listening to the show. More shows are on the way. These podcasts get posted. They're up and running every Wednesday, like clockwork. So, as I get ready to take it out, I want to say thank you again. Thank you for listening to the show. My name is Icon. The show is called Let's Talk About It. If you have any questions, concerns, or comments, feel free to email me, d6empire357@gmail.com. I'll take anything you guys can throw at me. Hopefully I'll get my co-host here working soon. I know I've been talking about it for the longest, but eventually it's going to happen. If you want to be a guest on my show, please feel free. Chime in, say something. Let's talk about it. All right, so I'm going to let you guys ride out with this track. It's called Grizzly Peak Road. I don't know, Tilden Park or something. But I'm going to let y'all ride out with this. Until the next time, y'all take care of yourself and each other's. Remember, tough times don't last forever, but tough people do. Y'all take care now.